across the nation are reporting examples of rampant voter fraud, from multiple ballots to being denied the ability to vote. One America's Pearson Sharp takes a closer look at these claims.
The official election ended Tuesday, but the unofficial election is raging on with no end in sight, and many Americans believe massive voting fraud is responsible. With reports pouring in across the nation from concerned voters, Eric Trump shared a national hotline for anyone worried they experienced voting fraud or that their vote wasn't counted. Here at One America News, we've received countless messages from viewers with personal examples of how they experienced voting fraud themselves. Some said they witnessed suspicious activity at their polling places, such as out-of-state vehicles picking up or delivering ballots, election supervisors in Florida campaigning for Joe Biden at the polling place, overflowing ballot boxes, people unable to register or remove themselves from states like California where they used to live, people receiving ballots for dead people, people voting and watching as their selection for President Trump was changed to Biden, receiving ballots for people who have never lived at their address, or people receiving multiple ballots to their homes. Even here at One America News, one of our own staff members received no less than 5 ballots himself, all of which were addressed to other residents who no longer live at his house. This is irrefutable evidence that not only is the mail-in ballot system deeply flawed, but that it leaves the door wide open to the possibility of rampant voting fraud. If those ballots had been delivered to someone who wanted to commit voting fraud, all they would have had to do is fill them out and mail them in, and no one could prove the correct person didn't vote. At least 7 wards in Milwaukee alone reported receiving more votes than there are registered voters, and the state's total turnout was over 90%, which is nearly impossible to achieve. Biden is also apparently getting help from elections officials in places like Wisconsin, where extra votes are being added to his totals, as admitted to by the Shiawassee County elections officials. A massive vote drop of 153,000 votes that were apparently all for Biden turned out to be just 15,000 after an extra 0 was accidentally typed in. And naturally, anyone who happens to point out these disparities is blocked or censored on Twitter. One America News had our own report censored on YouTube, with the audio muted and a warning posted about fact-checking the report and how voting fraud isn't real. Poll workers in Pennsylvania even admit to having thrown out over 100 votes for President Trump. And a lawsuit filed by the Public Interest Legal Foundation reveals there are at least 21,000 dead people on the state's voter rolls. A poll watcher in Philadelphia was wrongfully prevented from observing the voting process, and in Detroit, ballot observers were removed from a room where the ballots were being counted, and cardboard was taped across the windows so no one could see the votes being counted. President Trump and his team are working hard to overturn what appears to be rampant voting fraud, defending the more than 70 million Americans who cast their ballots for him this election. Vote by mail has always been vulnerable to fraud, and with over 50% of the country mailing in their ballots, the chances for vote tampering skyrocket. All of which proves President Trump was right from the beginning when he warned us that if Americans are forced to vote by mail, there might never be another Republican in the White House again. Pearson Sharp, One America News.